In this video, what I'd like to do is navigate to the syllabus, and then I want to go through some of the policies and procedures, talk briefly about textbooks, as well as assignments. I'm not going to go through the entire syllabus, but what I'd like to do is foreground here some of the most imperative elements of the syllabus. So again, I'm starting here in Screencast-O-Matic from the course homepage, and you'll note again in that welcome letter that you need to read first, start here, that I ask you then to turn to the blue bar at the top of the page, and of course the orientation forum. This is where you're going to find a link to the syllabus. So to get to that forum, I'm going to the blue bar at the top that remains static throughout every single course page. I'm going to click Content. I'm going to go to my Module 1 Orientation and Introduction forum, and I'm going to get into this particular discussion forum. And here you can see that I've linked our class syllabus. All right, so this takes you directly to the syllabus. Again, this document lays out for you some imperative information, parameters, policies, procedures, required texts, as well as assignments. It acts as a specific document that I will refer you to periodically, but it also refers back out to different documents and links posted inside of CourseDen. So first I'm going to give you a little bit of background of the genesis of this course theme. And while we'll talk about empathy, and I encourage you to talk with your work group about empathy as it exists within the texts, it will not be the only concept we discuss. Empathy is sort of a guiding force behind, or an overarching theme, I guess I could say, for the class. And making connections, especially where we are right now in the field of young adult literature. We're seeing this resurgence in realistic young adult texts. So it made a lot of sense to ponder that and to do so via reading and discussing. My information here is the first thing you see after some brief information at the top. My name is Dr. Nsinga, and of course I work for the Department of English and Philosophy. You can see that my brick and mortar office is 2248 TLC on the Carrollton campus. You have my phone contacts here, my office, and my cell. Honestly, during the summer, I'm not available that often in my office. If you cannot find me at the office and you're trying to call, do try my cell. You can call from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. or by appointment. And again, you should have something pretty substantial to talk about, not just calling up to chat or ask a question that you could probably answer with this document or others. There's a fax here in case you need to utilize that for some reason, and that would be only after discussing that with me so I know to expect something. There's something interesting to note about my email address for this class, and this will be a little difficult for those of you who perhaps have had a class with me before and you're very used to emailing me through my West Georgia email. For CourseDen classes, I ask that you send all electronic communication about the class or questions you have, assignments, through the CourseDen email tool. And if you remember the navigational video, I showed you how to get to that. I also say here to use the tool, you click the communication link in the blue bar that remains at the top of the page, and you choose the email option and choose it from that drop-down menu that pops up after you click on communications. And I ask you here not to use my UWG email for electronic communication unless, of course, CourseDen is down. This means, and this helps me, and it helps administration of the course to keep everything contained within its environment. I also regularly communicate, I think I said this in the navigational video as well, via the announcements feed on our class's homepage, and I like to share links, videos, written messages, thoughts about interpretation or postings, and of course reminders. So I do ask that you check it off, and it's probably the first place you should go when you log in and go to our class. My summer office hours are Mondays from 1 to 3. So I'll be available online. You can email me. You could also call me on the phone. We could set up a Skype call if you wanted to do that. So that's kind of the static office hour block that I have. But I'm also available for scheduled face-to-face or phone appointments. A lot of students last summer who were on campus or close to campus like to have those face-to-face contacts with me, and that's fine too. You just need to contact me so we can work on creating times amenable to our schedules. You can call, email via CourseDen, or use technology to communicate with me during online office hours. And if you want to schedule an appointment outside of these office hours, please call or email via CourseDen. Now, the course description is something that was posted in the advertisement, and of course also in the English department's course bulletin that Susan Holland puts out. So I'm not going to read through it verbatim. I don't want to do that. But what I do want to highlight will be our face-to-face meetings, which are June 21st from 10 to 12:30, and July 19th from 1 to 3:30 in TLC 1204 on Carrollton's campus. I'll let you read through once again the course description, but I did want to foreground these required face-to-face meetings. And the remainder of our class is online. The course objectives, again, I'm not going to read through them verbatim, but I do ask you to take a look at them so that you can understand the kinds of activities that you're going to be engaging in and the goals I have for you in the assignments and activities. So the goal, of course, is to learn or master, as they say, these objectives. Now, I do want to go specifically through the coursework, and this would be required texts, major assignments, the required existing competencies and technologies, and then the types of assignments. So I am going to be pretty detailed here as I go through this section of the syllabus, so please do follow along. Your required text, and what I've done here is I've actually put them in the modules where you'll be reading them so that you have a really clear idea of what's going to go where in our class. Our first module, we're going to be looking at a book of poetry, Dizzy in Your Eyes by Pat Mora, a text that won the Prince Award many years ago by Melina Marchetta called Jellicoe Road. In module 3, we'll be looking at the blockbuster, critically acclaimed, amazing text by Brendan Keeley and Jason Reynolds called All American Boys. It's a dialectic narrative, more on that later. And we'll be actually taking a look at a graphic novel from a trilogy, the March trilogy. We'll be reading book 1 by Congressman John Lewis. In module 4, we'll be reading our very own Alison Emminger's American Girls and Jacqueline Woodson's short novella, The House You Pass Along the Way. And our last module will see us reading Sherman Alexie's multimodal text, The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian, and R.J. Palacio's Wonder. All of these are required texts. You'll be reading them in their entirety. So make sure that you're taking a look at them either at the bookstore or on Amazon or other vendors where you might purchase your texts. I've created a small little footnote here that lets you know that supplemental readings or viewings for each module are provided for you to print out or view in each of the module checklists. So for example, if you have a chapter from a text or a scholarly article, they're hyperlinked there. If you have a video, then it too is embedded most often or hyperlinked depending in the module checklist. Your major assignments and the percentage breakdown. You're going to complete 2 colloquies, 2 projects, and 4 discussion forums, all of which add up to 100%. Now, when it comes to existing competencies and required technologies for success, when I talk about existing competency, I'm basically letting you know what I expect you to be able to do pretty well upon entrance into this class. So you are expected to be able to use the word processing program, conduct library research, create literary analysis in both verbal and written artifacts, so that would be papers, and utilize a web camera along with several forms of technology for which written verbal direction will be provided. So again, that means I'm asking you to be able to follow directions, which I often provide when I'm asking you to utilize a new form of technology. Now, the required technology you need for success would be a webcam that has a microphone. You can get one of these for as little as 20 bucks. A YouTube account, social media accounts on Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest, and these should be separate from the ones that you utilize in your own personal life. You also need a high-speed internet connection for streaming video, downloading and uploading documents and video, or listening to audio. And finally, and I cannot stress this enough, students should not plan on relying on a smartphone for this class, as upload times are far too long and coverage is not always reliable. So it could well be that you're trying to upload a video from your phone and everything's going well and you've gotten to 70% and something happens with your coverage and you do not get to upload it. It knocks it off of your system or your network. Which can be very frustrating for you if you're relying on a cell phone, but please know that you simply can't work that way in this class that requires so much work online. Students with special needs, if you have a need accompanied by official university paperwork, do contact me during the first week of classes so that we can meet face-to-face or virtually to discuss your accommodations. Students in need of accessibility links for various technologies used in this class should see this document, which links you to the help you will need. So this is linked in the orientation introduction forum. See me as well for any further assistance. And additionally, take note of the resources link in the blue bar at the top of any page in our course, and clicking on it takes you to several options for assistance. So the major assignments that we have would be student-led discussion forums, moderating and responding, colloquies, and projects. I'm actually going to try to finish this 15-minute video chunk. It looks like I'm going to need to create another one for you to finish what I'd like to do with the syllabus here by talking about the discussion forums. So each content-rich module is going to have its own discussion forum thread, and all will be student-led. Once during the semester, you're going to work with an assigned work group to plan collaboratively before framing the module's thread content for discussion. During the module, you and your group will moderate the discussion by responding and sustaining the conversation. At the end of the module in which your group moderates, you will submit an executive summary of the responses that the thread's framing produced in the thread's final post. You will always perform as a responder, even in the module in which you're part of a moderating team. So you're always going to be responding to others' ideas and concepts that they post, but you are going to act in the role of a moderator with your other group members. Please see the assignment sheet and accompanying rubric for discussion forum posting, both hyperlinked in Module 1. Actually, that's Module 2. The assignment sheet expounds further on the general ideas here. I have also created a forum for general postings of questions, requests, or conversation. And in that forum, you can create threads to discuss ideas or texts. Here, you could also seek a voluntary peer review partner or face-to-face discussion with each other. So again, beginning in Module 2, you'll have a work group creating the initial concepts for discussion, and everyone will chime in with their ideas. And it's that work group who is moderating, it's their job to sustain discussion across the duration of the module. This way, you own your content and you can converse with each other. I rarely enter in, I read everything, but I rarely enter in to sort of control the conversation. I definitely want you all to hone leadership skills and work together to create threads that you own in content. And when it comes to perpetuating conversation, I'd like to see you guys building that community through that conversation that you conduct with each other. I'm going to shift now to a second video in which I finish my discussion of the syllabus. I had planned on not being so verbose, but simply apparently can't help it. So please look for another video in which we're going to continue on.